Trevor Lawrence. And this game has been a Trevor Lawrence masterclass that, to me, I already thought that he's looked like the most impressive rookie quarterback so far. But this game is really cementing that. He has hit some plays that are Justin Herbert-esque, Josh Allen-esque, Russell Wilson-esque, whatever you want to say. That pass to Chenault, where he was rolling down, he was rolling right, gets to the right sideline, just about to go out of bounds, whips it across his body, 50-something yards in the air, and is able to hit, Chenault for that big gain. That was ridiculous. That was the best play we've seen from a rookie quarterback this year.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. My name is Blaiden Kirk, and I'm joined, as always, by my two favorite co-hosts of all time. And just a reminder, before we hop in, that we are doing a jersey giveaway through Apple. So make sure you head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a 5-star review with your Twitter handle, your TikTok, your Instagram, and we'll be picking not one, we're going to be picking two winners now.
It's a jersey.
2 winners, count them, 1, 2.
Me and Matt.
Matt and Theo are the 2 winners.
Yes, sir.
because they're my favorite co-hosts. They're the 2 winners.
Thank you, Blaiden.
But we're picking 2 winners at the end of next week. Get a jersey of your choice. So make sure you head on over to Apple Podcasts if you haven't already. Leave a 5-star review with your IG, Twitter, or TikTok handle. But Matt, Theo, how are you guys doing today?
I'm a little bit under the weather. I've got kind of a runny nose. I've got a little bit of a cough. Obviously, in this day and age, that worries you a little bit, but I don't know. I feel like maybe I'll have to get this checked
dude's got
out.
Blaiden 19.
I've got Blaiden 19.
I'm also a little under the weather. I lost my voice. I went for a run today. Came back, couldn't talk. I had a plan to record a bunch of TikToks. I can't talk.
I've had a cough for a while now, but
this has been a long time for you. So we're all sick, but we're persevering. That's the point.
It's getting into fall. It's getting into flu season. Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, my allergies have been awful, but
Matt's going to pull I almost said a Kobe flu game.
An MJ
Michael
game.
Jordan flu game. Kobe didn't do that.
I have that type of fight in me.
You do have that type of fight in you.
I'm
killer instinct.
I guess I'll just have to talk extra today.
And as always, if you guys haven't already,
more than I already do.
Make sure you hit us with a follow on TikTok at StayHotPod for some great content there as well. We have a lot to talk about with Week 4. We're going to get into that. Theo obviously wants to talk about the Jaguars and Bengals game going on right now. We'll hit our fantasy league for a little bit, talk about the standings there. Interesting matchups that we have coming up, and then I think Matt wanted to talk about NBA, a little bit of Zion. Just because he's a really interesting player. But before that, we have the Stay Hotline and the voicemail of the day presented by our good friends at Mint Mobile. Let's hop right into it.
What's going on, guys? It's Tyler from Delaware, Ohio, current student at Olentangy High School. I know Matt and Blaiden might recognize that name, but that's not the point. My point is, who do you guys think is the better running back today, Derrick Henry or Nick Chubb? My personal opinion is Nick Chubb, but that's just me being a Browns fan. Thank you.
Blaiden, I'll let you take this one.
Theo, I think we might agree on this one, that Nick Chubb is the best pure runner in football. But I don't know if that makes him the best running back in football.
I sort of agree. And I'll elaborate, but do you want to? What do you mean by that? Because I know what I mean by that. Nick
Chubb basically has some of the best center of gravity I've ever seen. Tacklers just bounce off of him like it's nothing. He has great vision. He's so quick to the hole every time. He just finds gaps and he hits them. Everything that you want your running back to do, Nick Chubb does well, basically.
I think Nick Chubb has a lot more wiggle than Derrick Henry does. There are some situations where he just snakes his way through impossible situations that I don't know if any other running back can do it. Derrick Henry, there are some runs that Nick Chubb has that Derrick Henry can't, just because Derrick Henry is so big. He can't quite wiggle and worm his way through the crevices that Nick Chubb does sometimes. Yeah. That being said, like it's still Derrick Henry in my mind, just because of the generational talent that he has when it comes to his endurance and just how many carries he can handle. And I don't know if I've seen any running back this side of maybe Adrian Peterson who can handle the kind of workload that Henry can. And, you know, you think of like Henry's 99-yard run against the Jaguars or any of his other like gigantic beastquake runs that he's had. Like, there's some stuff that Chubb can do that Henry can't. There's some stuff that Henry can do that Chubb can't. And so they're both on a very similar level, but Henry can just do more of it because he can handle more. So I think that gives him the edge, even though
I
there's
don't know
some
if it's
stuff
Chubb,
that they're both the best at.
I don't know if it's fair necessarily to say that Chubb can't handle it.
He doesn't.
Right. It's just he's not in a position to handle it. They just have.
I mean,
there's more to go around.
Was he hurt at Georgia? Did he have a knee injury at Georgia?
Last year, wasn't he?
He was hurt last year. And I want to say this about Derrick Henry. I think when you're judging football careers and you look past just what they did in the NFL and their career playing the sport of football, Derrick Henry is putting together one of the greatest football careers from start to finish that we've ever seen, considering his numbers in high school. When he put up like a 4,000-yard season or something, he had like 2,000 yards every year.
Stupid.
And then like his last year, he had like something really ridiculous. Then he went to college and won the Heisman at Alabama. And then he went to the NFL and won Offensive Player of the Year and had a 2,000-yard rushing season. Like, that is just insane from him.
What's so impressive about him is like kind of what you're saying, right? He's got so many carries. And for most running backs, you'd be like, oh, he's going to hit this carry number and he's going to fall apart. When's it coming? This guy's like 28 years old. It's going to be like his 9th season, 20th season, getting 5 trillion carries. It doesn't unbothered. It's bizarre.
Yeah. And it was something that I projected going into last season when he had all those carries week 1, or not week 1, when he had all those carries in that fantastic year he had 2 years ago. And then you look at the data and you're like, okay, when guys get that many carries, they tend to regress by a lot. So I was like, okay, that'll probably happen. It didn't happen. And then I looked at him and then people were like, well, maybe it'll happen this year because now he's done it twice in a row. And even he's got to show some wear and tear. And then I just look at his body in that commercial where he's like got the flag and he's like, who's got me? It's like, and he's like just so unbelievably freaking huge and jacked. It's like, I don't know if he's going to slow. Like, look at the guy. He's so big. And like, he's had so many carries throughout high school and college. And like, he shouldn't look the way he does. He's a freak. And in my opinion, he's the best in the league. Although I do love Chubb. And I think that he might be the most, he's got maybe the best balance and wiggle and a lot of the things he does super well. But Henry's just an animal.
Yeah. It's tough to be doing.
I think we're all kind of in the same boat here. Nick Chubb's super talented and probably has a better skill set than Henry, but Henry's dominance over the time that he's had, and not just in the NFL, is just unmatched. No one's doing this.
Yes.
So, yeah, Derrick Henry is the answer, but it pains me to say it.
Yes.
Sadly. But that was the Stay Hotline presented by Mint Mobile. We've all made the switch to Mint Mobile, and we're all big fans of it here. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. All plans come with unlimited talk and text, along with high-speed data, delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number, along with all of your existing contacts. And if you're not 100% satisfied, Mint Mobile has you covered with their 7-day money-back guarantee. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get that plan shipped to your door for free, head on over to mintmobile.com/stayhot. That's mintmobile.com/stayhot. Again, cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/stayhot. But let's hop into the NFL Week 4. Theo, you wanted to talk about the Bengals Jaguars game happening right now, 9.5 left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and Joe Burrow just threw an incredible touch pass to just got it just over Miles Jack's outstretched hand. He scrambled around a little bit, bought some time for himself, hit CJ Uzoma on a little crosser. It looked like they were kind of improvising, and he was running with Burrow, and Burrow just floated it right by him. Nice touch pass for the touchdown to tie it up. But what I really want to talk about in this game is Trevor Lawrence. And this game has been a Trevor Lawrence masterclass that, to me, I already thought that he's looked like the most impressive rookie quarterback so far. But this game is really cementing that. He has hit some plays that are Justin Herbert-esque, Josh Allen-esque, Russell Wilson-esque, whatever you want to say. That pass to Chenault, where he was rolling right, gets to the right sideline, just about to go out of bounds, whips it across his body, 50-something yards in the air, and is able to hit, Chenault for that big gain. That was ridiculous. That was the best play we've seen from a rookie quarterback this year. And maybe we saw the second best play we've seen from a rookie quarterback this year on that sideline pass that he had to Agnew, where he got it over. I think a corner was in front, a safety was kind of trailing behind, and he fit it in a very tight window, and Agnew was able to make a brilliant sideline catch. And also, on the touchdown that he scrambled for, he juked out Sam Hubbard, made him look silly. And this is Trevor Lawrence. He's 6'6", juking guys out. He's got the cannon arm. He's got crazy athleticism. I haven't really noticed him. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I can't imagine he's taken many sacks tonight. I haven't really seen many. And that's been a consistent theme. But the poise, athleticism, arm strength, it's all on display tonight. And the bad decision hasn't come yet. Maybe there will be one, but there hasn't been that yet. This is a quarterback, both of the quarterbacks tonight, both Burrow and Lawrence, I'm going to give Burrow his credit, have looked like franchise guys for their teams. And that's got to excite the fan bases of two kind of perennial.
Lawrence did get sacked once, but yes, he has looked pretty freaking good today.
He has.
I was a really little bit worried. Like he had a few questionable passes early. I think it was one real, in their first drive and then another, I think it was right before half maybe. But outside of that, he's looked pretty much perfect.
Lawrence is smart and dumb at the same time. He's smart in the pocket. He's got incredible natural poise and footwork, but he's also makes some really dumb decisions, and his timing hasn't quite been there this season. He's a smart guy, a really smart quarterback who does really dumb things. It's kind of weird.
But he's having a rookie quarterback season. You expect him to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Well, what's frustrating about Trevor Lawrence is these are the type of interceptions, and he's the type of player where you're like, if he cleans up the interceptions, he's good. But then you have a player who it's like, oh, he's going to go like Zach Wilson. Those are not he's trying to make a play interceptions. Those are that was just a bad throw interceptions.
Yeah.
Interceptions. I would, last week we talked about Mac Jones looking the best so far. Nope. Not really. He's avoiding turnovers, but no, he didn't even do that last week.
No, he threw 3.
Yeah.
And there's just on that Patriots offense, there's no fire. There's no one who's really beating you right now. There's no one to game plan against. It's not a scary offense. They got rid of their scary guy. And they've looked tough. Great starting field position a lot. Terrible in the red zone. It's hard to watch.
It is. And Mac Jones was kind of the best by default for a little bit, but a bad game from him and then this game from Lawrence, it was pretty easy for Lawrence to take that away. And Lawrence wasn't having the best season, but I thought even with that, he had the highest volume of impressive plays, which, plays that Mac Jones can't do. So this has been a very good game between the Jaguars and Bengals, which a lot of people did not expect, but it has been. And I also want to say the Bengals linebackers, what seemed to me to be a pretty strong weak point of the team before the season, Wilson and those guys, they've been balling, man. So credit where credit is due. DJ Reader, love that guy.
They haven't They've been without. Oh, I always blank on his name.
Oh, Burrow just threw. Oh, wait, no, that's not Burrow. What am I thinking? Never mind. I thought
But yeah, they're without. I can't remember their safety's name right now, but
Bates. They're all without
Jesse
Bates.
Bates.
So
they're without
they are
Jesse
without
Bates and
T. Higgins and Bates. So
and I think they're without. Who they're missing someone else. I think on defense. I saw Larry Ogunjobi left.
He did. Is Hendrickson out there?
I think Hendrickson should be, but regardless, defense is playing well despite missing some key pieces.
Yeah, Bates is real good. Last year he was their only good defensive player. So the fact that they're, 21 points,
and he looks even better this year.
I don't know about that, but
I think he does. I don't know. He looks awesome.
Anyway, that's enough about this
awesome.
game. I do want to talk if we're talking about Mac Jones and how there's nothing on that offense to defend. That's a good transition into Patriots versus Buccaneers, and we got to talk about it because I don't know if you guys have heard, but Tom Brady used to play in New England, guys.
Did he?
This is the lamest storyline ever. I don't care. I just don't care. I'm sorry. It's like, okay. All right.
The Bucs are going to slaughter the Patriots. Who here thinks the Bucs are going to win?
Hold on. So everyone knows that we do our weekly locks. Matt and I gave ours today. Theo, we still don't know who you're locking this week.
I haven't. I don't know either. You could maybe see me pick it live on air here, but the Bucs will be one of those teams. All right.
I've been thinking I probably should have picked the Bucs.
Yeah, well, you still can. I haven't made the graphic yet.
That's true. I might have to.
There was a very interesting book that came out that Seth Wickersham wrote about the Patriots dynasty and like all the things that went into it. And it's very interesting, like reading some of those quotes. I haven't bought the book and read the whole thing, but some quotes have been published in stories and whatnot. And I didn't claim to be a fan. I just said the book came out. But like Belichick, Brady was like, oh, what an asshole Belichick is. I don't want to play for Belichick anymore. And Brady was like, I want them to actually listen to me and the things I want. Like, I want them to do it, which is interesting because Rodgers did the same thing this offseason and essentially got infinite, like way more shit for it than Brady did, even though Rodgers ended up staying and Brady ended up leaving. But that's just, people can't say anything bad about Tom Brady, and that's the benefit of the doubt.
If you bring anything up, it's 6 rings, he's allowed to do that.
That's the benefit of the doubt 6 rings gets you. But I'm just complaining there a little bit. But, and then it's interesting to see him bring in, obviously Gronk and Antonio Brown. So there's some truth to that. And then they brought in Richard Sherman this week. So it's just kind of Brady's, I think
Tom
Belichick
Brady loses one game and he starts recruiting.
I think the narratives around Bill Belichick after this game are going to be bad. They're going to be bad.
They are. Yeah. And for a large reason why the Patriots were able to be so good for so long is Tom Brady. But another large reason is what Belichick was able to do with the defense for so many years. And nobody can ever give credit for multiple teams. And no one can ever just look at Brady and say, well, when the team started to struggle a little bit, because that happens, you can't stay good forever. He was able to jump ship and go to a different team. Belichick doesn't really have that advantage. If Belichick was the coach of the Bucs and Brady was stuck on the Patriots, we'd see the same thing. But
it would probably be worse.
Yeah, but nobody is going to sit here and think about it. It's going to be, Brady. It was all Brady and nobody else. But Belichick, you know what? I gave Belichick benefit of the doubt. Screw him. He made the wrong choice about Cam Newton. He did.
I tweeted that out. I commented
you said this was
that is the worst decision he's made.
That's a horrible take by you. Horrible take to say that's the worst decision he's made because
it's a bad one.
It's a bad decision, but you look at his first round draft picks and you look at maybe the decision to let Brady walk and alienate Tom Brady may have been a worse decision by him, and maybe spying on his opponents and getting caught may have been a worse decision by him.
Getting caught was the bad decision.
Drafting N'Keal Harry may have been a worse decision, and like just the ineptitude that they've had drafting recently. Like to say that's the worst move that he's ever made.
The Patriots have really never been that good.
Plus, you could probably even go back to like maybe his time on the Jets or the Browns and probably find some worse decisions.
We're not going to talk about his time in Cleveland, man.
Like that is not the worst decision that he's ever made. It's not a great decision, but like. overall, like how much did that really cost them? They maybe go from like a 7 seed to missing the playoffs or a 6 seed to missing the playoffs, which I guess a playoff run's significant, but it's not the worst move ever.
You know, what kills me about the Mac Jones thing is I said, I'm like, well, you don't want to have Cam behind him because what are they going to do if Mac Jones doesn't look good and Cam Newton's sitting behind him and everyone thinks he's the better quarterback and they want to get him in? Big problem. What if Cam Newton is the backup and he's just better than Mac Jones? What if you accidentally have him there and he's too good? Stupid. Dumb. Yeah, I'm sorry. You screwed up your own offense. Mac Jones is cool and all with like the accuracy or whatever, but he's not so far he's not beating anybody. And now that offense has nobody who's beating anybody. Now their run game doesn't look as good. So they screwed themselves over.
I mentioned this a little bit, the Cam Newton. We talk about Cam Newton all the time, but that week 2 game against the Seahawks last year is probably a better game than Mac Jones will have in his whole career, maybe, potentially.
Cam Newton was 1 yard away from winning the game on his back.
Anyway, we're talking about Cam Newton now in a Brady versus. Anyway, Brady is sick right now. That's an interesting plot point, though, is that Brady.
That's even worse.
Much like us is sick. So do you think he actually has a cold? Do you think he's actually sick? Do you think he actually feels bad?
Doesn't matter. Yeah. It's going to be
the narrative is going to be the same.
Flu game. No one could do it but him. You know how this goes.
He's going to be sick. So he's the one. This is why I dislike Tom Brady, is because he lies. He did not play the entire season last year on a torn MCL all the way. He said he did. He didn't. Yeah. And then immediately after that, he posted that video of him throwing with the jugs machine, and the ball went in the jugs machine and he spat it back out. That was like CGI'd. Like, why would he? And
what they kill you on is like, oh well, you're supposed to know. That's the point. But also, they don't make it clear.
No,
so
they don't make it clear
for it. It's okay too. If you think he really did it,
and
that's
everyone
fine.
did.
But if you do tell it, well, it was a joke, obviously.
And when they posted it, it was like everyone is like, oh my God, this is so crazy. And it was literally not even real. But like by the time people start to push it's not even real, like most people who have seen it is already. So it's like you're just lying. You didn't play the whole season. Like that's impossible. No one does that. You would have been like the medical team would have gotten arrested or suspended or something if that didn't get reported. Like it didn't happen. And now he's like, oh, I'm sick. I bet you there's going to be even more drama with that by the time Sunday rolls around, where he's going to come into the stadium like sniffling or like, and then he's going to come in and he's going to beat Belichick because his team sucks, and he's going to break the record for all-time passing yards. Which
and
is
someone will make a tweet about it,
and it'll be sick
against his former team, against Belichick, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, broke the passing record. Who else but Brady?
And this is going to be an obnoxious week.
It's going to be obnoxious.
It's going to be bad.
And it's like, Matt, you think Brady is the greatest quarterback to ever do it. You are in that camp, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So this is, and I have him at number 2 behind Peyton, a very close number 2. And if he puts together an MVP caliber season this year, I'll probably move him to number 1. Like, again, this is like, he can be, one of the best players to ever play football, like Patriots fans who are going to come at our necks. And this can still just be over the top, annoying, dramatic. It just is. It's just like, oh, no, God, give me a break shoving this down our throat.
So my question to you is, how big of an injury could Brady say he has and get away with it?
Anything. He could say anything.
Literally anything.
He could say anything and people would just eat it out of a dog dish.
My arm popped off. We glued it back on.
He could say it. A torn MCL for the whole season? No, that's not happening.
No, you didn't.
I'm sorry. No, you didn't. You can't even not report that. Anyway, we got to talk about the other games, but that game's just going to annoy me.
Yeah.
We're Brady haters, sadly.
I'm pretty sure Matt and I are for sure locking the Bills this week.
That it's the biggest spread of the year, so yes.
Looks like a college football
16
spread.
and a half. It does.
Is it really that big? Oh my gosh. I didn't even see that.
The Texans cover that spread. Maybe not.
16 and a half. That's crazy.
Yeah, if Tyrod was playing, you'd be like, oh yeah, no problem.
I think I'll go with Bucks, Chiefs versus Eagles, and probably the Bills.
I don't know if I will pick Chiefs over Eagles.
Oh,
the Chiefs. I don't know if the Chiefs defense.
The Eagles.
It's not the
Eagles.
Listen, man. How bad do you think their defense really is?
It's pretty bad. I'm watching that tape right now. I'm slowly getting through it, and there's just miscommunications everywhere, and they don't look buttoned up. But
okay, and Jalen Hurts has looked
bad.
Mostly.
He's looked bad. He did not look good last week.
Last week,
and the first week he threw all checkdowns, and I didn't really know that much about the second week. I know that he threw a bunch of checkdowns and then looked bad against the Cowboys, and the second week, they lost to the 49ers, and I don't think that was exactly a brilliant offensive. You would think he's looked good because he's top 10 by PFF grade. I do not care.
He's also Jalen Hurts, man.
I had never seen that PFF Myles Garrett not as valuable as Golden Tate take. That's the worst take
I had never seen that either.
It's the worst take I've ever seen. And I'm not judging that based off like how wrong they are. It's just like how dumb it is in the moment. You know, and that's such the reasoning is so bad.
That was a horrific take by them.
But then I thought it was kind of funny that like the Steelers have looked like so bad all year, but then they have the 2 highest graded defenders.
Oh, be quiet. Would they be better if they had another Golden Tate? Like, no. They also have they also have a ton of good wide receivers as well. So like, yeah. You say what? That you're the one who said wide receivers can carry quarterbacks, but quarterbacks can't carry wide receivers.
Well, a wide receiver an elite wide receiver is more likely to elevate a quarterback than a quarterback is to elevate an elite quarterback is to elevate a wide receiver.
I don't know about that because Big Ben is not it, and there's nothing those 3 wide receivers can do about it. You know, like I mean. At this point,
if you want to talk about one player to fix the Steelers, we have to go
Big Ben might be so bad that he's just dragging guys down. Right? I'm talking like if you had a baseline average QB, you could get by if you had really good receivers.
And if you had a baseline average wide receivers, you could get by if you had an elite quarterback. Here's the thing that PFF and all of these things, this is a tangent by me. Here's my theory, and it works way better than PFF's formula or anyone else's formula. There are 5 units, and they're all equal, and it's the front 7, the secondary, the offensive line, the skill positions, and the quarterback. Those 5, and then there's like coaching, which is and special teams. But for simplicity's sake, let's say it's those 5. All those 5 work in harmony together, and you need all 5 to be good, and you can't have any horrific ones. And you can argue all you want about which ones you need, but all of them need to be good. And it's like
PFF agrees with you. PFF literally agrees with you. Their whole
then why are they telling me Myles Garrett is less valuable than Golden Tate?
That might be one guy. That might be one guy they
were all agreeing. He was like, yep. They were on the podcast being like, oh yeah, you're absolutely right because
these guys got
their whole thing is like your offensive line. You want to creep towards average. You don't want to have like one Joe Thomas out there and then a bunch of Cam Irvings.
But they're always comparing.
That's not the same.
They're always comparing. Like they're like, oh, pass rush matters less than pass coverage. You need to don't draft a lineman, D lineman. You got to draft a corner because they're way more valuable.
It's like, not that it's like
you need good players everywhere, man. Like
getting an elite corner to play at a high level consistently is harder than getting an edge rusher to play at a high level for a long time.
And getting a wide receiver to play well consistently is super simple because like every year is a historic draft class for wide receivers, and they're still out here saying they'd rather have Henry Ruggs than Myles Garrett. Like they just don't. They contradict themselves. It's anyway. We got to go on to the other games. I do like some of the people at PFF, but worshiping at the church.
The only people that I like the 2 guys that run their podcast. The 2. I can never remember their names, but like those are the 2 guys that I like.
What other games are there this week?
There is
no other games.
There's the Browns Vikings. That's a good game. That's a Browns themed thing that we could talk about.
We could talk about the Browns.
I think
I'm not going to lock the Browns this week.
Good, because that's could go either way. I think.
Yeah,
and I thought about making the Vikings my upset pick, but Kirk Cousins, shout out him.
That's not a bad upset pick at all. Like,
no, it's not. Kirk Cousins is playing some really strong football this year, and shout out to him because this Vikings team really does look dangerous. It really does, and I know they're off to an 0-2 start. but they could turn it around. They needed that Seahawks win.
There's a lot of good games this week. Cardinals, Rams.
Yeah, I'm about to say Cardinals, Rams.
Exciting.
Again, another game that could dictate the MVP narrative.
Very much.
Yes,
If
those
Kyler
are my
goes
1 and 2
out
right now.
And has I don't even know. Here's the thing, right? Regardless of who wins, I don't know, because if Kyler went out and had 5 touchdowns and they lost, I don't know if that would. I don't know how much that would hurt his MVP case.
Yeah, it wouldn't really, and there'd be a lot to go through at the end. I would. At the end of the day, the quarterback on the best team tends to win MVP.
Yeah.
So if the season doesn't end after week 4, but if Stafford beat the Cardinals and was 4-0 and he'll still, unless he plays a disaster game, he'll probably have better statistics than Kyler Murray as a whole, because he's the most efficient quarterback in football right now.
He will have beaten the Bucks. He will have beaten the Cardinals. It's beating the Bucks was a big game. That was huge.
Yes,
it was.
But I don't know.
He's looking at me like that's redundant.
No,
outside
I think
of the MVP.
Yeah, go Matt.
Outside of the MVP race, Jalen Ramsey Hopkins is always fun. I guess to go back to the quarterbacks a little bit, if Ramsey does a good job against Hopkins, that might limit Kyler a little bit. I'm always worried about him if his playmakers aren't killing like they usually are. He's a little prone to making mistakes. He's great.
Especially when there's an Aaron Donald running up the middle on him is also a little bit clouding that. I think the Rams win this one for that reason. I think that this is the kind of matchup where Kyler might make some silly mistakes, and he's been making some silly mistakes, but the Cardinals have pulled through anyway. This is a game where I don't think he gets away with it, so I do think the Rams win that.
Stafford has not been making silly mistakes, so yeah, I don't know. It'll. My thing is when I watch Stafford, he just looks so confident right now. There's that play going around Twitter and Instagram of I don't even know who's coming off the edge, and he just gets flipped over, and they're like, pass protection isn't passive or whatever. Yeah,
I saw that. Yeah,
and everyone's talking about how good the block is. Stafford is just chilling. He's not worried at all. It's just supreme confidence in his guys.
Yeah. No, everything is meshing right now, and I love the energy that Sean McVay has been showing in the last game against the Bucks, running around back and forth, running in circles. You get hyped if you're a player and you see Sean McVay that excited, if you see your coach giving that, see the coach giving that kind of excitement, you feel excited. Everything's just kind of that kind of feels like the team of destiny this year. I think
if you make a big play and your coach is just totally no emotion, just chilling on the sideline, that's kills your mood. I can't lie. Yeah. You make a big play and your coach is coming up to give you a shoulder bump, whatever. You're getting more excited.
Yeah, you got to keep the energy up. And even Belichick, who's the king of being sullen and moody. I mean, there's a really great clip from him where he is
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
He's look at us. No excitement after this play. No one's hyping our guy up after the sack. How are we supposed to win the game when everyone's acting, somber?
Right.
Hype your guys up. That's a Belichick quote. And, Belichick may not be as Bengals win the game on that game-winning kick from
That's going to be tough for your mentions.
Yeah, it is going to be tough for my mentions. And Burrow did play a good game today. So maybe I will address it. I don't want to address every single
off TikTok
record.
For a day.
Yeah, too bad.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I can handle it. And Burrow has looked good, so maybe I will readjust it if I feel like that's needed. But I do kind of still feel he's Alex Smithy. But again, prime Alex Smith is not a horrible person to be. So anyway, that's that. Good for the Bengals eking out that win over the Jaguars. But going back to the Rams, I just think they're kind of the team of destiny this year. They're probably the powerhouse after that win. So Unless, of course, the Cardinals beat him and I look dumb in a week.
This is going to age poorly. We're all going to be super wrong. Cardinals are going to win. Kyler's going to break the touchdown record.
One team will get proven legit. Ravens, Broncos.
Yep.
Oh,
Broncos have had too easy of a schedule for people to give them credit or whatever. And Ravens have looked, even though they've won a couple of close, good games.
They won that Chiefs game, but then they struggle against the Lions and they lose to the Raiders.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting to see if Lamar is going to be able to single-handedly dice up that Broncos
I think the defense will be just too much. I know Bateman might be coming back this week, but rookie receiver first game against great corners is probably a tall task. And I just don't trust that team, that offense. They're relying too much on Lamar. So
Yeah.
I think Denver's defense is going to get it done. And offensively, their weapons have looked great. Teddy has looked great. I take it back. I didn't say anything bad about him. He's good. He's looked really good. He's been pushing the ball down the field.
Again,
Yeah.
where is Andrew Sandejo this year? He's on the Colts, right?
Yep.
Someone tweeted at me that Andrew Sandejo was looking good for the Colts. And I'm literally thinking Matt and I are literally talking about how, when a fan base talks about a player being bad, they're always right. And then as soon as our guys that we're talking about being bad leave.
That is funny. They're
performing.
And recently the Panthers traded for CJ Henderson. Jaguars fans are wrong about him though. It's not been all bad reviews, but more often than not, a fan base won't call their own player bad unless they're bad.
Yeah. That is probably – well, you were right about Sandejo. Although I do think that he caught a little bit too much flack last year. I really do for the Browns. Browns
he was
were
the fall guy.
He was
There's
the
always
only
a fall guy –
there's a fall guy, and he was the fall guy. And yes,
bro, he was
not good.
So bad.
But Blaiden here is about to go on a rant, and he
who's
wasn't
that Browns
quite as bad as
linebacker? That's the guy this
Anthony
year.
Walker?
Everything on the defense.
He's hurt right now,
fault.
so I'm not going to talk trash on him. He's hurt right now.
Yes, Sandejo was bad last year, but there was a point where they thought
he was giving up the highest passer rating in the league for 12 weeks.
Horrible stat for a safety.
I'm just saying,
in general, he wasn't as bad as you think he was. He was, and I'm not even saying that he was good last year. I'm just saying he was bad, but Browns fans made Sandejo seem like the worst football player ever, and he played. He obviously the Colts took a chance on him. It wasn't bad enough.
Can't believe that makes no sense.
Well, because he wasn't that bad last year. He was
still he was bad.
A rosterable really player.
No.
Yes, he was.
I would have traded him. What 2K game was it? What 2K game was it where you get traded for sandwiches?
I don't think
that would have been Andrews.
You might be.
That would have been Andrew Sandejo. Nah,
I'm gonna look at his PFF grade from 2 years ago.
Oh,
and we're gonna see if it's a 40. It is a 40.
Be.
It is a 40. Yeah.
Listen, man, he's horrible.
All right, he may have been.
He's god awful.
I thought that he was kind of the fall man last year, and there's just no way a safety can cost you.
There always is.
Yeah, but maybe it was deserved with that. But
no, it was deserved, man. I tell you, Browns fans are not wrong about this. We go to bat for we went to bat for Johnny Manziel. We don't go to bat for you.
Blaiden just tricked me into talking about the Browns for 5 minutes. What were you talking about?
I brought up Teddy Bridgewater.
All right. Did he? Okay. That's not your fault. That has nothing to do with the Cleveland Browns.
That's nowhere near. I mean, if you want to count I wanted the Browns to draft Bridgewater instead of Manziel, kind of counts.
Stop.
Anyway, we're going off the rails. We're talking about Ravens versus Broncos. Matt, You've got the Broncos winning.
Sadly.
I
like Lamar. I root for him.
I do like Lamar.
No problem with the Broncos, but I think Lamar might be in some trouble.
Yeah,
Lamar's a great player, but he's just
one guy, and there's 11.
He's just one guy. going to be 1v11
Marquise
out there.
Brown, he can't play worse. I swear to God, dude.
He was looking so good over the past like 8 or 9 games.
He
too.
drops like
and I was
3
like,
touchdowns.
maybe he's not, maybe he's turned the corner a little bit. And, he was playing really good football the first 2 weeks of this season. And then that game happened. And
you know who he is? He's Ted Ginn. That's who he is. He's the number one receiver when he shouldn't be for the mobile quarterback who gets too much hate. He's Ted Ginn. That's who he is. Not a bad player, not a good number one receiver. And I agree with you about the drops being like, it's an overrated stat, but it's all fun and games. He had like 20 drop touchdowns.
It's an overrated stat when you're like making fun of a really good player for it. Like DK Metcalf when he has like 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns and you're like, oh, no hands. He led the league in drops. Or CeeDee Lamb when he has like 100 yards and a bunch of like a touchdown versus the Bucs in week 1. And they're like, why is no one talking about his drops though? That's when it's overrated.
Yeah.
Like it's not a, thing where it's like they're always overrated if you drop 3 easy touchdowns and then you have to rely on your kicker making a miracle field. Like that, those drops were not good. Like that was really bad. I think I'm going to take the Ravens to win. If you guys are both going to agree that the Broncos are going to win.
Fair enough. It's not like it's going to be a close game.
They have Lamar and they have the greatest kicker of all time, so it's not impossible.
Because you are like the Broncos defense is going to neutralize Lamar. I think the Ravens defense is going to cut Teddy Bridgewater down to size a little bit.
It's not a bad take at all.
It's a little bit. Bridgewater is playing like he's
Teddy might be due for an adjustment. He might be due
for a little bit of a regression here after playing like an MVP candidate against some horrible teams. I think the Ravens blitzing and that secondary maybe keeps that Broncos offense down a little bit. And then on the other side, I think it'll be a low scoring game. But it
very well could be.
If Lamar balls out against this defense with this help, he might be the MVP in my book.
I've already said he's an MVP. He needs to be an MVP candidate. It's absurd
I saw him as like
to say
5,
otherwise.
So I can.
He is 5 now.
And I said this on the live stream. I'll say it again. He's not the best quarterback, but there isn't a quarterback who could do more with the Ravens than what he's done. I don't believe it. You put Pat Mahomes, who's probably the best quarterback in the league right now, on there trying to play his style of ball with those receivers. There'd be a lot more bad interceptions, a lot more dumb. Not necessarily his fault, but what Lamar's done, what he does for the run game, how much attention he draws is something that I don't think any other quarterback can replicate because running is just that valuable. Mobility is just that valuable.
Yeah, I was talking about like against the Lions on the live stream. There was like 3 sets of eyes on Lamar every play. And there was one play where they didn't have any eyes on him. And he runs for 30 yards, and he's untouched for like 25.
It's funny.
And they go right back to like 3 sets of eyes on him.
He's one of the most efficient passers in the league. I saw like most yards per completion or whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe not because he's got 3 picks, 3 touchdowns right now. So maybe that's a dumb take because he did have a couple bad throws against the Chiefs. But overall, very efficient in the air. Doesn't throw it a ton, doesn't air it out always. He's very efficient on the ground too. It just sounds like a very super efficient overall player. And the threat to run, like you said, keeps so many eyes on him. Even when it's just a run play that isn't drawn up for Lamar, he's making an impact that other quarterbacks don't.
Yeah, Lamar is a tough guy to judge, I think, because on one hand, you're like, oh, there's no weapons. There's no weapons on that team. They've spent a lot of draft capital on the wide receiver position. But don't look at capital. Look at how good the people actually are. Yeah, it is true. But I think at one point you can maybe say if Mahomes had those guys, would those wide receivers be held in a higher regard because maybe his placement is better, or maybe he just gives them a little bit. I don't know. Opportunity. I'm just saying.
Okay. All I'm saying is that the Mahomes game against in the Super Bowl. with that, like the amount of drops that he had there, if we were dealing with that like every single week, I don't know. It might be a different narrative.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying that this is I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here.
I don't think you're wrong for that. I'm just saying that Sammy Watkins caught 400 yards last year with Mahomes, and he's probably going to catch more here with Lamar. I just don't think his receivers are that good. I think Watkins is all right. There's all right, and if Bateman comes back and he's good, then we're talking. But
yeah.
I'm saying here's I guess my point. There's a lot of teams. It's a weird situation because the Ravens would not trade for Lamar for probably any other quarterback. But I feel like there's teams like the Cowboys with Dak, or the Chargers with Herbert, that wouldn't trade their quarterbacks for Lamar either. Like Lamar and the Ravens were such a perfect marriage, and big shout out John Harbaugh for actually, doing the damn thing and not just trying to force a square peg in a round hole and force him into this offense that isn't what he'd be most effective running. Like, they did a great job making that scheme and letting Lamar cook. And and I don't know if any other quarterback could execute that scheme better than Lamar does. In history, maybe even Vic, just doesn't have wasn't the passer that Lamar is. Like, and maybe even wasn't the runner. Like, Lamar is crazy good. So, it's
Lamar's
just a weird. Lamar is just so perfect for the Ravens, and in a way that other quarterbacks wouldn't.
I don't think it's just a Ravens thing.
Josh Allen.
Think he's that good.
I think Josh Allen. I've thought about it. I was leaning Kyler for a little bit, but I was like, no. Kyler still tries to play a little bit of hero ball like Mahomes. Josh Allen might be the guy that you could throw into the Ravens offense and it work.
No, I think that if you gave Lamar to a coach like Matt Nagy, things wouldn't go well. And I think there's a lot of coaches. I don't know, but John Harbaugh won a Super Bowl. Like, he's a Super Bowl winning, one of the longest tenured
I don't
head
give
coaches
Harbaugh any credit for Lamar. Letting Lamar cook is not
that's the bare minimum. That's what you're supposed to do.
You can't. No, bogus. No, I disagree.
No, I don't. I think there's a lot of coaches in this league.
Who wouldn't Matt Nagy ruin?
I don't know. I don't know. But Nagy's maybe a bad example because he's really bad. But I really do think, Mike McCarthy in Dallas, like even LaFleur, I don't know if maybe LaFleur would. Like, Shanahan might run Shanahan stuff, to completely overhaul your entire offense in the way that Harbaugh did from Flacco. There's a reason why Lamar fell to 32, And it's because no one wanted to go through all that and put together that game plan, I think. I think you have to give Harbaugh credit and Lamar credit. It's not a mutual thing. You have to give everyone involved on the Ravens credit for this team that they've become, because a lot of teams just didn't know how to do it, and that's why Lamar almost fell to the second round.
And that's not on Lamar.
No, it's not on Lamar. No. It's just on all the other coaches for not being Harbaugh. Like, Harbaugh is a really, really good coach. Lamar is a really, really good quarterback. It's just like a lot of coach. That's why it's like, if you I think a lot of teams wouldn't trade their quarterback for Lamar. Maybe that's dumb of them, just because they want to run their shit and not the shit the Ravens run.
Right.
The Ravens were okay with being like, we are going to take this transcendent talent and actually put in the work to put in a offense that doesn't deal with the quarterback position as traditionally as some other coaches, because coaches are kind of hard-headed. like NFL football coaches did what they do to get to where they're at, and they're not going to, they don't love to change it. So,
that's, before we hop into the fantasy, because I know we've been kind of on this, NFL week 4 storyline thing for a minute, but that someone asked me like, oh, why, do you think Belichick deserves some hate for always wanting to be the GM? I said no, because coaches have to like build a game plan around a team. And if they're given a team that they don't know what to do with, they're going to be screwed. And Belichick's like, I'm going to pick my guys and I'm going to do what I know how to do. And that was one of I think that was
strength.
one of the main reasons why he left Cleveland. When they moved to Baltimore, they wanted to keep him, but he was like, they wouldn't make him GM.
Yeah, I think that Belichick does. I mean, he won 6 Super Bowls there. He has 8 rings, so like in total. So he deserves some credit for his work as GM. But at the same time, he also deserves some blame for the state the team is in now because of his draft failures recently.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Overall, Belichick as a GM has been nothing but a roaring success. I don't think you can say anything else.
That was just like a tangent off of like you saying that coaches are stubborn. Mm-hmm. You're right.
Yeah.
Like they want their guys. But I think it's about time we hop into our fantasy league. You know, it's kind of interesting. I want to call this out right now at the very top.
Mm-hmm.
Whose team is the wine MVP?
That's Will Blackman's.
Oh.
Will Blackman talked mad trash on our teams. He is dead last in the league right now.
He liked my team.
He did like your team.
And I'm probably second to last in the league.
This says a lot about him.
You're 1-2. You're 10th right now, Theo. To be fair, I'm 8th, so I'm not like much better. Matt is 7th. We're all 1-2, by the way. All 3 of us are 1-2.
End of the day, I think I got it this week. I think I'll get to 2-2, and we're going to be moving from there.
I don't think I have whatever it is this week. Oh, maybe. The Bengals
James Robinson, 20-point game. He's back. That's okay. He's back, baby.
He's back.
And
they needed him to be back. They're a good running team. They've been effective when they have ran the football so far this year. They just decided to not do it.
Look, God bless Carlos Hyde. However, Urban Meyer, please stop. You know what I mean?
He was a healthy scratch today, I think.
I thought he was hurt.
Maybe
Look,
that would make more sense.
If that's the case, Urban Meyer finally gets it. I can't talk today at all, dude. It's brutal, but I think Robinson's finally going to get the touches. I think I'm turning it around a little bit.
After you quit. You quit.
No.
2 weeks ago, you said, I'm over. I'm done. I quit. Yeah.
No.
Run the tape.
No.
All right.
Look,
I'm going to get the producers to run this back. It's going to be right.
You go for it. I know what I said, but I didn't mean it. I was like, It's okay.
I know.
To say you quit. And get frustrated. That's okay in life. But did I actually? No. And that's what counts. End of the day, I'm going to be 2-2. I don't know who I play the next week. I'm going to be 3-2. I don't know who I play after that. I might be 3-3. But going from there,
I think I'll have a winning record. All right.
Rousing speech. Well, there's only one 0-3 team, Will Blackman. There are 3 3-0 teams.
It's got to be Franchismo, and is Drew Allen one of them?
Drew Allen's in first place. He's 3-0. Frank Michael Smith is in second place. He's 3-0.
His team's good. I would have won against like almost any other team this week, but I lost to him. And by like 15.
This team is good. You know what? You know what take is not panning out.
3-0 in third place.
DeAndre Swift is just too good. And I said when I made that hot take, I'm like, this will probably be bad because he's just too talented, and it'll change Campbell's mind. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I keep getting people that are like,
Jamal Williams is getting a nice amount of take.
Yeah, it's not a horrible take because if you drafted Jamal Williams based on Matt's advice, it's not like you're kicking yourself right now.
But yeah.
I'm waiting for another Nyheim Hines breakout game. That's what I need.
He's outproduced Jonathan Taylor, and that's funny because he's better. Nyheim Hines is that guy.
Hines is so good. He's so athletic. I cannot get over the touchdown celebration he did, where he just did a gymnastics routine.
No, he's scary athletic.
Who's doing
jump
that?
Cuts. Him in space is a scary sight for a defense because he can do a Avengers move. Yeah.
I've been getting kind of Jones tonight, buddy.
I did, but my odds of winning went up because
he got
I don't know why
13 from Mixon and then 2 from
Mixon
the Bengals
somehow
team.
Underperformed his projection, and the Bengals defense only got him 2 points. So my odds of winning actually went up despite Marvin Jones' 24-yard day. Anyway, we were talking about this on our live stream of playing golf with friends last night about doing a fantasy hockey league. With like 4 people. And I still think that's a good idea. after having a night to sleep on.
You guys also thought it would be a good idea for me to go on The Bachelor, so I don't know.
That is a good idea. Oh my God. Okay, this is so funny. Blaiden, you would be absolutely should go on The Bachelor. You would be so good at it. You are like
you've got the look,
you've got the
personality, and it would be great for the pod.
You've got the ego to do it.
First of all, I did look into it. They make you're not allowed to do anything. Like I wouldn't be able to record the podcast for 3 months. I wouldn't be able to do school for 3 months.
But when you come
on The
back,
Bachelor, that's all we talk about.
When you come back, it would be we would hold it down, Blaiden. We would hold it down, and then when you made your grand return after winning The Bachelor, maybe you wouldn't even make a return because you'd be rich.
That would be our first
bring
guest.
the girl
onto the podcast.
You would bring the girl back to the podcast, and like we could break down your time on The Bachelor on the pod. It would be record numbers for the podcast, and you would have a good time because you would do well on The Bachelor.
It's just it is.
It is right up your alley. It is right up your alley.
And when they bring you on and they ask you, what do you do? You're like, I record the Stay Hot podcast. Doubles the viewers right there. Even if you lose PFF, like day one.
The PFF guy was on The Bachelor. Who was that? There was a PFF guy, Renner. I think Mike, is he the guy with the luscious blonde hair?
Our producer's saying it's Renner.
Renner was on The Bachelor, and it was very funny, and I don't even think they marketed it right, but he was on The Bachelor, and you could probably be like, that guy got eliminated early. I'm the sexier, I'm the better.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem we would have right now. If that happened, they would play this podcast back, and then the girl would watch it, and she'd be like, he's not here for the right reasons. He's just here for his podcast.
He's just here for his podcast.
And you'd have to like profess your love or get kicked off.
If you ever get on it,
I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the fact that my mom watches The Bachelor. I don't want my mom to see me on The Bachelor.
And we'd have watch parties.
How is that different than your mom seeing you in real life? Yeah.
No, not the same at all, Theo.
It's like she's just watching you in real life. Now she's just watching you on The Bachelor.
I hope my mom doesn't listen to this episode. She will definitely text me if she listens to this episode.
Look, Blaiden's mom.
Do you think she would want you to go?
No, she would not want me to be on The Bachelor.
Why not?
I just know for a fact she wouldn't.
Is there a cash prize involved? Well, she doesn't have faith in you.
I don't know if they do pay you.
The producer brings up a great point. It would be the Bachelor.
Technically, it would be The Bachelor.
It would be The Bachelorette.
You guys know
what if you were The Bachelor and you had all the girls fighting for you? But you'd have to be pretty much on The Bachelorette to be The Bachelor. But we are talking about The Bachelorette.
That would be perfect. You make it far. You show the people your personality. And then you lose because you really only wanted to promote your podcast. But then the people love you so much.
They love
you go
it so
back
much.
as The Bachelor. And then
it doubles the podcast, and then we're
like,
and then you win The Bachelor, and then you come back triumphant from winning The Bachelor after having dozens of girls pining for you. You win it, so you can't lose. So then you make your choice. You have the dream girl, and then you come back triumphantly to this podcast that is now.
And then we get a huge podcast
number one in the world. We already
yes,
it's
dude.
It's
this
perfect.
Is like.
Me and Matt can't do it. We're not built like you are, Blaiden. Like Blaiden is.
No, they wouldn't.
What do you mean you're not built like me? That doesn't make any sense.
No, we're not. We're not. You are like we get to we got to Las Vegas, and Blaiden is like making moves like instantly. Like we are not. Like
I did not make any moves. What are you
trying?
You were trying.
If we were there just a little bit longer.
If we were there for
if we had been there for a week,
2 more days, you would have been like. You would have been doing some Bachelorette shit if we were there for like 2 more days.
All right.
Yeah. You would be good on The Bachelor.
How can I sign you up?
Yo, we gotta talk about the NBA, bro.
Well, he's only 20. He's only 20, so it's gotta be like.
Oh yeah, I have to be 21.
Like, there's no way they let 20-year-olds on. This girl is gonna be like 29.
Casting application.
This dude's actually
you have to be 21. All right.
Okay.
Day after your birthday.
February. Yeah. Here we go.
Here we go.
This is crazy.
This is cool. Anyway. No, I'm not either. This
He's
is
going to
like
sign me up for The Bachelor.
you would be good, so good on The Bachelor, Blaiden, and
You would. You really like. We're not lying to you. You really
I'm not
would be
lying.
perfect for it.
I don't know. I'm just like, doesn't feel right, you know?
It takes a certain amount of confidence in yourself
and you've got confidence above and beyond.
that
I have confidence to spare.
I have confidence in myself, but not in a Bachelor type of way, like not Bachelor level confidence. Where
You don't have that Aaron Rodgers confidence.
No, I don't. I don't have that. Like I've got confidence, but anyway.
We could talk about this all day about whether or not I should.
What show, Matt? Wait, Matt? If you had to be on any reality TV show,
that's a good question. If you had to,
what would you be on?
Where it's like faked, kind of.
I don't know. Like just in general.
This is going to be a bullshit answer.
Okay.
American Pickers, where they go to the
That's
barns
a nice
and look
little
at antiques.
show.
I collect antiques. So
You do? All right.
I do.
You know what I think I could do? Deadliest Catch.
I thought you were about to say
think
Naked and Afraid. I can't.
No,
lie.
I couldn't do Deadliest Catch.
That'd be fun.
Deadliest Catch, I might die because it's scary up there, but I have the mentality to be a crab fisherman, you know? And if Joe Burrow keeps looking like he did tonight, that's going to be the career I'm going to have to take. But I could do Deadliest Catch.
This guy's fishing for crabs in a year and a half.
I'm in a year and a half. I'm going
When
up
Joe
to
Burrow
Sig.
wins MVP.
I'm going up to Sig and what's Edgar, and I'm like, let me bite the head off the herring because this is all I've got. This is all I've got left. But anyway, I could do that. I like the ocean. I like fishing. I think I'm mentally tough enough to take the Bering Sea. I'm from Minnesota.
You did go shark fishing.
I did go shark fishing. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a brutal life up there, but I think that I have the mentality.
And you know what it's like to be stranded. Yeah,
I would rather do that than go on a reality TV show where it's like, oh, you are in love. Like I can't do that. I can go catch crabs on the Bering Sea. The other one is Wipeout. One time,
I'd be terrible at that. No way.
One time in middle school, they brought like the big red ball like thing that you had to bounce across, and I got it first try. And ever since then, and like a bunch of people went before me and they couldn't do it, and then I did it on the first try. And ever since then, I'm like, okay, I could cruise to this course.
Facts. He was just built different. But
okay, moving on to the NBA. Yeah.
I was about to say we could talk about this. We could talk about reality TV shows forever. This is your guys' show. Like, take over from here. NBA's not. I was talking.
Go work on that. Go work on that Bachelor application.
I was on live with Bree earlier. And I was talking about like how I probably can't name a single starting five in the NBA. I can't name any one player in the NHL, and I can name maybe two players in the MLB.
You can't name one player in the NHL?
Nope.
There's no way.
One? You can't name one? How about the Penguins? The guy who's been around, the prodigy.
Is it Mason Crosby? Is he still in?
Mason Crosby.
What's his name? I don't know.
You're close. You're so close.
Why is his last name Crosby?
Yes, his last name.
I don't know his first name.
Sidney
Crosby. Whatever. I was close enough. Mason.
Have you
Sidney.
heard of McDavid, Connor McDavid, or Nathan McKinnon?
Connor McDavid. That sounds like
Ovechkin. Yeah, Alex Ovechkin.
That sounds
You've got to have heard of
like
Alex Ovechkin.
Do
you know who Wayne Gretzky is?
Oh yes, I do know who Wayne Gretzky is. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Okay. So Sidney Crosby and Wayne Gretzky. That's two. Okay.
Do you know who the Columbus hockey team is?
The Blue Jackets?
Okay,
like, is this a trick question?
A little more further than that.
Well, I don't know.
All right.
But
okay.
Tangent. Go on to the NBA. My point is this is your guys's.
What I wanted to talk about was Zion Williamson and how I think there may be some people who are a little bit too high on him for a couple reasons. Every year in the playoffs, we're always like, the most important thing is staying healthy. The most important thing is staying healthy. And then I'll sit here and I'll be like, okay, well, here's a player who has proven not to be able to stay healthy. Are you going to ding him? How good you think he is, or not necessarily how good you think he is, but how much you would be willing to trade for him Would you be willing to ding him for that? And people are like, no, it doesn't matter. It does. And I think Zion Williamson is 300 pounds with foot problems who jumps a lot. And that scares me. And it's not like he's a perfect player either. It's just if he stays healthy, he's the best player in the league. We're not even to that point yet. So I'm wondering if I'm a little nervous about Zion Williamson. Everyone's like, yeah, I know he's injury prone. I want to let's talk about that. How, like, if he's injury prone, if he's that injury prone, can he play a full season ever? When does that happen?
How old is he?
He's 20, 21.
He's 20. He's 20 years old. He's probably younger than me, or about the same age. I think he's a little bit older,
21.
actually.
He's 21.
I think he is born in like March. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
6th. Very close.
He reminds me a little bit. I don't know. He just was quietly putting up like 30 every night on very good efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything. And it was something that
Don't get me wrong. He's great.
It was
when
something
he plays, he's great.
It was something that Booker was doing in 2019, the year before the Suns went on that finals run. There was like this ridiculous streak where Booker was putting up like 30 every single night on good efficiency numbers. And that's where I think Zion and Booker are kind of in a similar tier, except I would trust Booker to be a little bit healthier. So I would probably take Booker. I don't know if you would agree with that, but I think that they're kind of, if you're ranking players, those two might be next to each other.
It's interesting. Frankly, I have a policy where if you can't trust a guy to be healthy for the playoffs, he's not good. I won't say that about Zion because you're right. But here's my problem with him. He's so good because he's so efficient, because he's so physically dominant inside, but he's injury prone. That clashes. His play style and his biggest flaw, his availability, clash. And you have to wonder how that's going to work out long term for his career. I can tell you right now, breaking your foot, not good. That's a high chance for re-injury. That's not what you want. And he weighs so much, and he jumps so high. And maybe this will be my worst take ever, but it's pretty much just a gamble. I have a hard time seeing an injury-prone guy like that be physically dominant at that weight for a long time. It just seems like it won't work out.
What was Shaq? Shaq might be the closest thing that we've seen to him, just in terms of sheer bulk and like.
Yeah,
Shaq was also just so big, and obviously I wasn't really alive for Shaq's prime, but I'm sure people said these same things about him. How many games was it in a full 82 game season last year?
No, 72.
And he played what, 65 games?
61.
So 61 out of 72.
But he still had to have surgery.
Yeah.
And it's just if we're like, you only missed 11 games and had surgery, it's like,
yeah, I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I feel like you're onto something, and it wouldn't surprise me if you're right. But to say that he won't be a great player for a long time, I just don't know if I would.
How many surgeries has he had?
I want to say more.
Has he had more?
If you're having multiple surgeries on the same injury, and you're not even like 23 yet,
it's not the same injury, but there's a lot that's happened to him. It's all lower body stuff, I think. I feel like his senior year of high school, he got hurt. Remember, for Duke, he blew through his shoe. He messed up his knee. Obviously, his rookie year, he barely played. And then last year, he had surgery. And it's just, I won't blame the Pelicans for trying to build around him. Don't get me wrong. When Zion plays, he's so ridiculous. He's insanely dominant. He is getting better. I think the shot could come. I think the playmaking might also start to be there, especially if they play through Zion like they should. Mm-hmm. If he stays healthy, he will be a player who is the best player on a championship team. Don't get me wrong. You cannot doubt Zion Williamson, like the talent. He was the number 1 overall pick for a reason. But I guess the whole point of this segment is I have a very hard time trusting him to stay healthy. So much to the point where if you made me pick whether or not Zion was going to be great 10 years from now, I think you'd have to say like, no, I don't know. I can't see him staying. Yeah, no, I guess I don't want to be too for sure about injuries, which I guess I don't know.
You're going to get like, old takes exposed.
Because I know.
Okay. I see what you're saying. I don't disagree. What do you think the Pelicans should do? That should they just go all in? Right? Should they trade him now while his value is this high and try to get pieces that are you feel a little bit safer? Is that what you would be suggesting, or are you suggesting maybe? Well,
wouldn't
he's
be unreasonable
young
to think about it.
Okay. And
here's the thing. It's a mix of things. Number one, I don't think the Pelicans will be that good this year. This team looks like it's going to be awful on defense.
Yeah, it doesn't look. I just checked, and it's like Steven Adams is slow and old.
Adams isn't even on the team anymore.
It's Valanciunas. Steven Adams, number 12. Is this? Oh, this is last year. Dang it! I look at last year's.
All right, so you have Zion's not a good defender. Valanciunas is not that good of a defender. Devontae Graham, who they added, is like terrible on defense. I don't know if they got more talented. They've got a lot of young guys who show potential, but if they want to be good, you can't show potential. You have to be good. And even are they going to win back-to-back play-in games? The problem is like you can look at this team and you're like, well, run everything through Zion. Let Zion do more. And you're right. If they let Zion do everything, they'd make the playoffs. He really is that good. I didn't mean to.
I thought they would. I feel
like I overreacted earlier in this segment, and I bet against him. I probably shouldn't. But the more you run through him, the more likely he is to get injured. And I think I can't blame a team. I still think he's kind of like a lottery ticket, I guess, with better odds. Not Powerball, but. And I'll never blame a team for taking that chance, because when you have the potential to be that number one player on a championship team, you got to do it. But if the Pelicans right now are sitting here like, our team's not going to be good. Zion doesn't want to be here. He's super injury prone and could kill his value if he hurt his foot again. We want to trade him for the max super package that someone's offering, like all the picks and multiple great young players and another guy who looks like he has all NBA potential. I wouldn't blame them.
I think that I agree with this take by Matt. I think that it's a scorching. Like that would be a crazy ballsy move by the GM.
And maybe it'll be my worst take ever. I'm fine with that. But I don't trust him to stay healthy. I don't trust the team to be good soon enough. And I don't trust him to want to play there. And all three of those things mean that it's not insane if they don't think it, if they want to pull the trigger before he starts to lose value. Because if he finishes this year and he gets hurt and then he really wants to leave, you could be all of a sudden the value starts to creep down. The counterpoint to that would be Zion is so good that his value won't creep down that quick and that you can go through this year and it won't be a problem. Or the counterpoint would also be, when are you getting another player like this? It might be a long time.
That was about to be my question. Is New Orleans a big enough market to even attract?
No.
New Orleans should be a place everyone wants to play. Hey, if you're from New Orleans, I love your city, okay? I want to go back there now that I'm
Maybe
21.
not big enough market, but the team itself doesn't.
Like, if you don't want to live in New Orleans, I don't know what's wrong with you, because that place is awesome, okay? Like, you go on, like, the jazz clubs. Maybe you just don't like jazz enough. But I like jazz. Really
jazz is nice.
You like jazz. I think that you would want to play in New Orleans, but I'm not.
I don't know. As I'm giving this take, I feel dumb about it.
I don't know. I think you're making sense.
But I do think, as someone who doesn't understand basketball, you're making sense to me.
Zion, he's so good. Have you you really watch him?
Zion Williams. The most excited I've ever been watching an NBA game was his first one, where he poured in, I think it was 17 straight points in the fourth quarter, and he had kind of a bad game to begin. I watched the Suns, my favorite team in the finals, win 2 games, and I was hyped. But the most oh my God, this is amazing what I'm seeing right now that I've ever seen in an NBA game. And I've seen the LeBron James block. Maybe I'm overreacting, but when he hit his fourth straight 3 to put in 17 straight points in his debut, his much anticipated debut, to come back and win the game, that was the most I've been jumping up and down. Look at what I'm watching.
This is such a tough take for me. I hate to be indecisive, but it might just be He's just too good, and you won't get another. If you trade him, you won't get another player back. No, I have to disagree with myself, unfortunately.
Oh, well, we all did this for nothing. Okay.
I'm sorry. Here's the problem. They still wouldn't be unreasonable. I still am more worried
It's
about
not
him
an
than the
unreasonable.
average
You
person.
literally like started to convince me, and now you're like, never mind. That's such
Here's the
full
problem.
circle
Here's the
and
problem.
disagreed
Here's the
with
problem.
himself.
Here's the problem.
Somehow I won that argument while conceding. I don't know. Was that what just happened?
Here's what I'll say. With Zion, is he injury prone? Does he want to play there? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. But if you trade him, you will not get back a player who will be the best player on a championship team. You won't have one, and then you'll be too good, and you won't get him. And you'd need to win a ridiculous lottery, and then you're kind of stuck in no man's land. And I would, even though I think Zion is a bigger risk than maybe some people think, I'd rather have a dice roll than be, maybe future what the Trailblazers are, but with a player who's not as good as Dame or something like that. Like if you were to trade, I don't know. So I when you have a player that good,
both of these takes make sense to me.
When you have on the one hand, when you have a player that good, you have to hold on to him because there just aren't that many guys who have that potential, and he does.
Yeah.
And if you traded him, you wouldn't get him back, and then you'd be in that weird no man's land. That he'd be in like Pacers land, right? And you don't want to be there. But on the other hand,
no one wants to be. I
just have such a hard time trusting this to work out. It looks so bad. He's injury prone. He doesn't want to be there. It seems like.
It's hard to win a championship. It's especially hard when you're the New Orleans Pelicans. And Matt, I think what you're realizing is that they probably won't win a championship no matter what they do. And that's probably the case with most franchises, not named the Nets or the Lakers here in the next couple of years. So
what I would like people to take away from this segment is that I have no opinion. Think about it yourself.
Matt, you are the only person I've ever seen get into an argument with yourself and somehow manage to both win and lose.
Look, all I'm saying is that I can see it. I just like
okay. You can see it both ways. You can see it both ways.
We got it. We got it.
And they don't care about the injury stuff. And like, what are we talking about? But I get.
Stephen A. Smith
why.
always says the best ability is availability.
I think everyone's. I don't know.
I don't know if that's just a Stephen A. Smith thing. But
I've seen him say it a lot. I see him say it like all the time. But
I think
why are you watching Stephen
ridiculous.
A. Smith all this?
It's just I just see it on Twitter. I just see it on Twitter all the time.
Anyway,
okay.
Listen, that pretty much wraps things up on our end. As always,
Zion's going to win 20 finals and ruin my life. That's the takeaway from this episode.
That's the takeaway. But just a reminder that we are doing the jersey giveaway. We are picking 2 winners at the end of next week. Make sure you head on over to Apple Podcasts. I don't care if you don't have it installed. I don't care if you have an Android. Figure it out. We're gonna pick 2 winners at the end of next week. Make sure you leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts with your Twitter, IG, or TikTok handle, and we're picking 2 winners very, very shortly. As always, tons of content coming your way on all platforms. And until next time, from the Stay Hot Podcast, Corn Boy, Lemon Boy, and Nut Boy, we'll catch you on the
Gambling Addict Boy. That's what they're calling me on.
Gambling Addict Boy?
Yeah, they're calling me Gambling Addiction Boy.
Addict Boy. But we'll catch you on the Flippity Flop.